Good evening. Hello.
There you go. Welcome back.
Welcome to another episode of Winthrop Votes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry about last week. How you been?
Doing all right, man. Doing
Yeah.
all right. Yeah.
Okay, good.
You know, summertime. Stepson just went back to college. Stepdaughter just went back to high school. We're not going to talk about the high school situation or the school situation yet.
New you. Well, so before we get going, I did just leave the school committee meeting, and I just have to say this. I have asked the question 800 times before tonight about show me the data that suggests that a community that is 71+% vaccinated. Show me the data that shows that we're putting young kids in the hospital at any numbers, candidly, and that they're dying, because they're not. And this phobia. I've never not met, but have the opportunity to listen to so many cowards speak. It's embarrassing, candidly. Anyway.
So, in other words, the people that were pro-mask, pro-vaccination, etc., were there. How many were in opposition, would you say?
Me? Oh, wait. To their side or?
Yeah, to the mask. Like who?
Me. There were probably a total of five people that were on the call that were against it, but the rest were for having a mask mandate.
Okay.
Scary. Yeah, scary.
We'll see how it goes. But so here we are. We're back for another episode.
Yeah.
If you're watching this and you like what you're seeing, share it. Share it off your Facebook page. Right now we're streaming live over Facebook Live on my page, on the Winthrop Votes group page, and YouTube. So these videos will not be going away anytime soon.
Oh no, man!
And neither will we. Neither will we. If anybody has anything to say, they can comment in. We'd be glad to answer or pay attention to as much of it as we can. So, okay, when we left off 2 weeks ago, we had this flag situation, right? And so you had posted a video. You went to, what was it?
So I went to the Rules and Ordinance Subcommittee meeting where they were discussing a flag policy for Winthrop. They decided now that they need an official flag policy, and they basically took the city of Boston's policy, which says it's up to the mayor to decide. And they put language in there, and I think I read it last week. I'd have to dig it back up. But essentially it says, at no time shall the town of Winthrop raise any flags that are deemed to be racist, religious, or otherwise deemed to promote hatred or divisiveness or the usual feel-good stuff, right? The virtual signaling. And
like the town would do that anyways.
Right. Well, that's the assumption, right?
Somebody's going to say, why aren't we flying the rebel flag? I mean, this is pretty common sense stuff of, what gets flown and what doesn't. But Phil Boncory decided to cross the line, go rogue, and pay attention to that. To the people that are watching this, pay attention to that. I'm going to say it right now. I say it every show. I might say it at the end of the show. All politics starts at a local level. Do not pay attention to the Winthrop politics. There's a lot going on in the world right now, but you have to stay focused on your own politics. So Phil Boncory crosses the line, flies the pride flag, huge virtue signal. Look at me. I want votes. I'm going to be up for re-election in November. So you press all the buttons. You get them all fired up to the point where now they have to kind of because you were doing what a good citizen should do that's not happy with its local government, and you contacted them and wanted answers. So.
Yes. So, it's interesting that you say, it's just interesting because that's not the best of it, Scott, or the worst of it. We now have a commission. It's the Commission for Diversity and Inclusion that is part of this policy. that you might be interested to understand. Okay, so they're going to get, essentially, the town manager is going to have, if this passes, by the way, this has not passed yet. I'm sorry, I should have been clear about that. This is up for debate on the 21st, I think, at the town council meeting. I mean, hopefully people will show up, but you get the government you deserve. That's all I can say.
If you don't participate.
Yeah. So, and again, we got to not focus on the flag issue, because what's going to be next? But at the end of the day, the town manager can decide, yes, this is a good flag to fly. And they base it on, now, okay, so what's deemed hateful? Well, my flag, and in the meeting I brought this up with Mrs. Flockhart, the flag I wanted, she deems as a racist and hateful, and it makes people uncomfortable and offends them. And I said, well, says who? And she said, well, I know several people. And I said, okay, that's fair, but you know what? People are offended by Jewish people were excluded from the pride group in certain cities, by the way. They were not invited to parades. They were asked to leave. The pride flag, frankly, discriminates against you and me. So the point I make there is, who decides, right? Well, now they have this commission that's attached to the town that's unelected. Don't know really how. There's a lot of questions here you're going to have, Scott, I'm sure. Unelected, that's going to see every request for a flag raising and have input. But it's non-binding. So
basically, this inclusivity, what are they called again?
Commission for Diversity, Inclusion, and Community Relations.
So my first question, why? Why does Winthrop need this? Well, where was the trigger point in Winthrop where they felt compelled to put this committee together? Okay, this Diversity and Inclusion Committee. That's my first question. Well, second question.
Okay.
How did they choose the members?
That's a good one.
So who approved this, and how did they get approved? And who like did a group of people get together and say, we are the Diversity and Inclusion Commission? We want to be recognized, and the town manager at the time, and now the acting town manager, Terry Delahanty, going along with this, and Phil Boncory, the town council president, and I don't know how many town council members going along with this. It's basically an oversight committee. That's all this is. It's an oversight committee. They say they're non-binding, but yet they have, when this proposal, if I heard the video right, which was low quality, Peter Christopher said, he added this in, he said, this flag policy, and again, this isn't about the flag. It's about the politician that went rogue and decided to do what he wanted to do. It's about the town council doing what they feel they want to do without any thought, just because they think it's right. So Peter Christopher adds in that this flag, rule is going to get presented to this commission, right?
Correct.
And what if they don't like it? What if this Diversity and Inclusion Commission doesn't like a flag?
Right, that's right.
So what did they tell the town council? We don't like it. And what if the town council says, well, we're going to go with it, but we don't like it? See, you're adding fuel to a fire that's already lit for no reason.
Unnecessary. I brought this up to Peter in that meeting. I said, why would you do this? He said to me, and I don't know if I recorded that or if it was on the video, but he said to me, Todd, well, maybe someday you'll have a conservative town manager. I'm like, I don't want my guy to have that power. What part of that do you not get? I don't want a Stalinist government.
Again, why? So, again, Kurt Miller says it's appointed by the council president, right? Phil Boncory. So who picked these people? We saw the list. We posted it on Winthrop Votes.
I can read it again if you'd like me to.
Well, it's right there. We can repost it and let people go to the group, the Winthrop Votes group, and tell me how this Diversity and Inclusion Committee would feel if I wanted to fly some type of conservative flag. Now, this show right here is not. We're not left, we're not right. We are going to do our best to go down the middle with everything. People might know how we think and how we, but we're going to try to get down the middle of this. So you include this diversity committee and inclusion into something. So what's next? So okay, what if you and I want to start a freedom commission? We want to start a freedom commission, right? And we want to have a say, just like the diversity inclusion committee has. By the way, one of the members on this diversity and inclusion commission, committee, whatever they're called, doesn't even live in Winthrop.
That's correct.
Doesn't live in Winthrop. So that gives me a right. That gives me a right to be on any committee I want in Winthrop. If I volunteer for a committee, I have a right to be on it.
I would think
Right?
so. Yeah.
Where does that make any sense? Where does this go? I mean,
Well, if it has no point, then why does it have a spot on our town website? It took, I mean, as minimal as the time is for whoever did it to add it to our website, it's still time that they spent doing something that they didn't need to be doing. And these little things like fighting over flags to raise, right? So let's fast forward for a second, Scott.
yeah.
Where a year later they've gotten what they wanted, the progressives are happy, and they have their flag policy, and now somehow a conservative town council or a town council president wins because we haven't changed the form of government, and he says, I want the Gadsden flag up for the month of July. You don't think they're going to have a problem with it? I mean,
I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty safe in saying I think their collective heads would explode.
oh, of course, they all think together. We are Borg.
Again, I could be wrong. This is just my opinion. I could be wrong. Maybe they'll be like, sure, we'll be inclusive. We'll fly that flag. We're good with that.
Yeah.
Could be wrong. But again, the fact that they have a say in town council business is scary. Because where does the line? Where do you draw the line? Like, what if they want to now be involved in other parts, other aspects of what gets voted on in Winthrop? Oh, right now they'll say, but they won't. Oh, and Peter Christopher made sure to tell you that it's non-binding. It's non-binding. Then why are they even involved? Why does this rule? They get a copy of the rule before, along with the town council.
Yeah, and I don't. And by the way, we don't as taxpayers. If you're listening out there, you don't. You don't get to participate unless you ask. So you have to know something is going on before you get to the information. This commission, because it in my opinion, it makes Phil feel good to virtue signal. They get it without asking for it.
And I believe when you questioned Peter Christopher about it, you said, why don't we? And he said, you do.
Yeah.
And you said, how? Well, you just ask.
Exactly.
Well, how do we know to ask if you're doing this without telling anybody? Right? So, and what if you do ask? He'll say, we'll get back to you. It's a guarantee. You're going to get the, we'll get back to you. You know, but they pushed that through, you know, or they pushed it through to a vote. It's coming up to a vote on what, the 21st?
Yeah.
That's a Saturday, right? That's next Saturday.
Yeah, it is. Well, then they got to move it to the 20th. They can't vote on a Saturday. These guys don't do that. So I'll have to check the date on that because they don't work on Saturdays.
Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well,
And
a lot of Monday through Fridays.
Yeah, a lot of Monday through Fridays. They also they are going to be voting on this, and they are going to have amendments on this, and they're going to have hopefully a room full of people. But at the end of the day, I just don't know that we're going to get anywhere with it because that board is stacked with illogical thought.
Right. So they're going to push it through no matter what. Well, then what happens there is the people that vote for this, they're eventually going to come up for re-election.
That's what has to happen right there. Yep.
And before, when they were running for office, right now we're just a cog in the Facebook machine and the live streaming machine. But this show is going to start calling them out for who they are and what they vote for. We're going to get voting records on what they voted for, what they didn't vote for, And if the people don't go to the meetings, well, they'll get the information, which is what they bank on. They bank on you not showing up. Well, we're going to give them the information. YouTube video, Facebook Live.
And we should. I'm going to tease out here a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
So we had a discussion. I'm not sure which of our shows we discussed this, but we had a discussion related to the issues of transparency. Right. We talked a lot about me filing for FOIA requests for executive session minutes.
Freedom of
right?
Information
Yeah,
Act.
Freedom of Information Acts. And I had teased out that there may be some stuff we need to learn. Well, here's an update. First of all, I got a response that I requested all of the evidence that was used by the town council to decide to sign off on their deal with Austin Faison.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. And by the way, I can now bring this to light. This is a fact because it was said in a meeting, I think 2 weeks ago. The town council, when they vote to approve minutes, okay, the minutes are sent to them in their packets from the previous meetings. Executive session minutes are separate. Executive session minutes cannot be voted to be released to the public until the matters are settled. But regular meeting minutes, they vote on every week. Well, there were executive session minutes in their packet that weren't supposed – well, there weren't executive session minutes in their packet. But there was an agenda item that said they're going to vote on these minutes. The 9 collective voted on these minutes that they never read. Never read.
Okay. Let me stop you there. So
You got
there's
it.
9 town council members.
Correct.
All 9 of them voted for this without reading. What?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, they voted on it.
Do you have the names of the town council people in front of you by chance?
Well, just give me 1 sec. I can get two
yeah.
shakes of a lamb. And you just give me 1 second.
I would love to at least let the people of Winthrop know who voted to pay off the town manager without seeing
Yeah.
the official minutes. Right.
And it gets even better. So, all right, first, here's the town council members. Here you go. Philip Boncory, council president, running for re-election this November. Tracy Honan at large. She's not up until 2024. Rob DeMarco at large on the ballot this November. Richard Farino, elected to the 4-year term. But he is, well, it says the term expires 2022, so I think he's off next year. Jim Lettieri, he is running for council president. I'm calling him out for it. He knows this. Unfortunately,
It's all right.
It's got to happen, right? Nick LeConte.
He did what he did.
He did what he did, right? Nick LeConte, precinct 3. He's done in 2022. Barbara Flockhart, precinct 4. She's done in 24. Pete Christopher, precinct 5. He's done in 22, and he's said he's not running again. And Ruggerio's done in 24. So it gets better. So apparently, someone I know, and if she wants to chime in, if she's watching tonight, or if she ever wants to chime in and come on and talk about it, she can. I'm not going to say who it is, but a friend of mine got the settlement agreement that was signed. Now, why this is weird is because if the minutes weren't voted on, and that was part of the minutes, why was that released? And why can't I have it now? Right, because I requested it and I got an email back saying, legal's looking into what we can share. That's the gist of what they said. Because I requested, allegedly, there's a communication between Phil Boncory and Austin Faison that's pretty gnarly. I just want to leave it at that because it's all hearsay right now, but it's really gnarly. And it's the reason why, supposedly, it's the reason why he had a case against us in the first place. And by the way, no council has asked to see that evidence. I did. I haven't got copies of it yet. Did I close that loop correctly? I'm so fired up right now. I don't even know where to go.
And that's quite all right, as you should be, and as the people that are watching should be. Also,
Yeah.
so but she got a copy of it. Your friend.
She did, and there were
How did she get a copy of it?
She did a Freedom of Information Act.
But you couldn't get a copy.
No, because when they learned of the minutes that weren't supposed to be released, they obviously are stopping all future requests for the information until they vote on and approve the minutes. And Mr. Lettieri, to his credit, actually, in the last meeting I went to, forgive me, I should have wrote the dates down. I didn't.
That's okay.
But he said, we made a mistake. We need to fix this, and the meeting minutes aren't accurately reflective of the meeting, because there was also some commentary that was supposedly made from the lawyer to them regarding the case. He couldn't say details because that's not legal. You know what I mean? But
Right.
anyway, so that's where we are.
But good for her. Good for your friend to go out and do that.
Yeah.
More people should be involved like that. Freedom of Information Act is not if I remember correctly, it's not a convoluted process.
Nope.
You can request anything you want that's on town record, right?
You go to town. You can go to the town of Winthrop.ma. I'm sorry, town.winthrop.ma.us. It's a stupid long website, but you go to the town website. You go to the top of the page and it says Public Records, and you click there, and it walks you through how to do it. I mean, it couldn't be any easier. And you got to be careful with your wording. You got to pick the right dates. You have to, essentially, when people are looking for information, they have inside information. Right? The only way you're going to know something happened is if someone told you.
Yeah, you're not going to randomly pick a time and say, I'd like to know what happened on this time.
No, right? How many emails are you going to read through?
Right. So most Freedom of Information Act requests are because somebody is suspect of something.
I've filed about 15 or so in the last 2 months. If I'm filing those and you're spending my time doing it, there's a damn good reason I'm doing it.
Well, this is what we're here for, too. This
Yeah.
is exactly what we are here for. We are not here to bash, and I'll say this every week, we're not here to bash people, whether we have friends on the council, and I do, but that person also voted for this, which is kind of disappointing. Now, no matter what they say, they could be, oh, well, you don't know what happens behind the scenes. Behind the scenes isn't supposed to happen like that. When we paid out, what, $130,000 to this guy?
Yeah,
of taxpayer money? Pretty much with all the benefits total. His golden parachute was what, about 130, I think he came up with?
Yeah, I mean, and Scott, I have to be correct. I have to correct. I'm glad you brought that up, because Jim asked me to correct the record. Jim Lettieri asked me to correct the record because he says, he didn't quit. I'm like, well, what did he do? He goes, we didn't quit. I'm like, you want to play semantics? Okay, he didn't quit, everybody. He took a leave of absence, and we didn't fire him. You fill in the blank. So I just corrected the record.
Okay. So he took a leave of absence and never came back.
And we paid him.
And got paid a lot of money for it.
Yeehaw. Yep.
Wow.
And now there's discussion. Hold on. Now there's discussion about is he getting benefits, because he's still on our benefits, and he's got another job apparently. Like,
can we find that out?
I mean, I shouldn't have started that because everybody doesn't want to know now. But I'm going to do my homework.
Well, everybody should be. More than one person should be checking into this. I mean, this is something that, again, this is what this show is. We need to let people know this stuff is going on.
Yeah.
Pay attention to your local government. Pay attention to your local government.
Yeah.
It starts, and this is one of those kind of, well, it starts with the flag, and where does it end from after that? Well, that's really the way it goes. Where does it end after that?
We didn't die on the flag hill, Scott. That was just a symbolic move by me, right? That was a symbolic thing to do to make a point.
That whole thing triggered this show.
That's right.
That whole thing triggered this.
Let's hope it does some good.
Well, I hope it does. We're not going away. We're going to keep, whether, and anyone from the town council is invited to come on here.
Yep.
This is not an ambush show. Todd will talk to you before the show, well before it. And, if you want to come on, we're more than happy to come on. You can state your points. You can try to correct, or maybe you will correct us on where we were wrong, and I'll readily admit if I'm wrong. But we want people to come on, and I think we do have a town council member coming on next week.
Yeah, we're going to have Rob DeMarco for a Q&A session, next week. By the way, quick shout out to Leo Haskell, the world's greatest wedding guest.
Hottest working man in show business.
That too. Yeah, we're going to have him on for a half hour of some Q&A, and hopefully if people are watching and maybe you guys want to send us some private messages with the questions ahead of time, please do. We're going to give him, in transparency to the audience, we're going to give him a list of topics, but we're not going to restrict the questions. We want him to be prepared
It's only fair.
for this. Yeah,
It's not an ambush show.
No ambush.
We'll tell them what we want to, topics we want to talk about. No one will get any questions in advance. That's not an interview.
No, it's not.
That's not an interview. And hopefully my technology is arriving this week. My high-end technology will be able to take phone calls too.
Nice.
So if anybody wants to call in next week, I'll have the phone number up on the and it's not me holding my phone to the speaker either. I put an investment into this. But so if anyone wants to call in next week, and don't be afraid to call in. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? Someone could say, "Oh, I saw you on that stupid Winthrop vote shows. I heard you." Well, then that means they were watching too.
Just blame me.
Well, why not? Why not? Everybody else seems to.
He's the jerk. It's his fault. Fine.
Yeah, well, you're the catalyst to this whole thing, buddy, and I give you pounds of respect for being persistent, being wanting to know what's going on, being involved. More people. If there was 10 more people like you in Winthrop, and that pretty much that just kept hammering away at their topics and what they do and what they don't do.
Yep.
I think we can affect the change. You know, because now they're being watched. Like I said, these YouTube videos aren't going anywhere. These Facebook videos aren't going anywhere.
That's right.
People are going to watch this. They're not watching the live stream, but people. I think the last episode we did probably had about, I don't know, a couple hundred views.
Nice. It's growing.
So people are watching. It's just, it's 8 o'clock on a Monday night. People get home from work. They have a life, and we understand that. And the people that are watching, thank you for participating. Thank you for watching. And again, if you have anything to say, as you can see, we put it right across the bottom of the screen. Do you know who was on the committee who doesn't live in Winthrop? That's which one is it? Matucci, the one that's on that.
Yeah, hold on. Let me bring it up
the
again.
Inclusion and Diversity
No,
Committee.
Suzanne Matucci, she lives in Winthrop. She definitely lives in Winthrop.
Which one? Then I apologize for that.
I don't know if it was. So you got. Here's the list: Andrea Baez, Walter Conley, Johnny Bentley lives in Winthrop, Anthony Williams, Susan Matucci Gallo lives in Winthrop, John Morgan, Nasaj Patel.
Because one of them under their in their bio, says lives in Boston.
Yeah, I'd have to look that one up.
Yeah,
so
one of them says lives in Boston.
Yeah, we'll look it up.
It was a female, but if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure I unless they moved or the bio was incorrect.
I gotta find those bios again.
Yeah, they're on, and we posted them on the Facebook group. But see, this is what we want. Thank you, Kurt. I guess Todd's taking a picture of me.
Sorry.
Well, you wouldn't be the first. Yeah, I mean, Kurt, any help you can give us too. Any help anybody can give us, we'll be more than glad to take it, listen to it, and see what comes of it. Awesome to get this info out to the town. Yeah, see, Wendy Allen. She doesn't. A lot of people might not have time to pay attention, right? And again, that's what these town councils bank on. This is what these school committees, the school committee is very important. They bank on people that are busy and they're not showing up and they're not paying attention. But now we are going to make them pay attention. We are going to make you pay attention.
That's the goal.
That's the goal. We will be your weekly news in Winthrop.
Yeah. All right, kid.
So what else you got? Anything else before we wrap this up? Quick
No.
30 minutes.
Yeah, it was good. I love it. And
All right.
I'm going to be super preparing for Rob. So wherever you are, Rob, get ready.
Yeah, and we'll talk, of course, during the week,
Yeah.
leading up to next Monday. Well, all right, you want to do the outro?
Yeah, guys. Everybody, thank you once again. It was a great half hour. Lots of good input here. We're glad you're participating. If you like it, share it. We'll see you next week. Later.
Pay attention to your local government.